12-year-old Carter Reynolds never liked running errands. If he had his way, he'd be at the park tossing a football with his friends or parked under the oak tree outside his middle school in Macon, Georgia, glued to his slightly cracked tablet. But when his mom asked him to drop off a document at the bank after school, he didn't protest. That's just how things worked in their house. If Camilla Reynolds asked, you didn't argue, you moved. Carter stood in front of the hallway mirror, brushing imaginary lint from his hoodie. His jeans were too long, bunched up around his sneakers, and a dusty streak still clung to the fabric from lunchtime kickball. He half-heartedly wiped it with his sleeve, then gave up with a shrug. He had the manila envelope and the deposit slip. Those were the important parts. Straight there and straight back, his mom reminded him from the kitchen, her voice firm but warm. And don't let anyone talk you into stopping for snacks. I won't, Carter called back, zipping up his hoodie. You trust me, right? I do, Camilla said as she walked over and handed him the documents. She still wore her navy blazer from work, her heels soft against the hardwood floor. Though visibly tired, her eyes stayed alert, sharp in the way only mothers and businesswomen mastered. Should I tell them I'm your kid? Carter asked, hesitating. Camilla paused a moment, then replied, only if they ask. Just hand it to the front desk. If they need more, tell them to call the office. He nodded. And Carter, she said, bending slightly to meet his eyes, don't let anyone make you feel small in that building. You hear me? He smirked. They won't. The walk to Langston and Branch Bank took about 12 minutes. The sun was low, stretching long shadows across the sidewalk as cars whooshed past on Houston Avenue. Carter kept one hand jammed in his hoodie pocket, the other gripping the envelope like it held $1 million. He stopped at the crosswalk across from the bank. Red brick building, silver signage, dark-tinted windows. It didn't look like much from the outside, but Carter knew what it was. It wasn't just where his mom worked. She owned it. People usually didn't believe that part. He'd seen it firsthand, how folks looked sideways when his mom introduced herself or signed off on documents. Like they were waiting for someone else, someone older, lighter-skinned, or maybe just a man. But it was always her. Inside, the bank was cool and faintly smelled of toner and cologne. Carter got in line behind a man wearing khakis and a flannel shirt. 3 tellers stood behind the counter, one older gentleman, a woman tapping her nails, and another woman at the far end counting bills. When Carter stepped forward, the teller nearest him, her name tag said Jessica, didn't even glance up. Next, she said, eyes glued to her screen. Carter stepped forward and placed the envelope on the counter. Hi. I'm here for my mom, Camilla Reynolds. She asked me to drop this off. Jessica looked up, blinked, and raised an eyebrow. I'm sorry, what? I'm here on behalf of my mom, Carter repeated, staying calm. She owns this bank. Jessica's lips twitched, then twisted into a smirk. Oh, really? She said with a quick laugh. And I'm Oprah. Carter's ears burned, but he stayed still. The envelope stayed on the counter between them. But Jessica wasn't done. She leaned back in her chair and looked over at the teller beside her. Hey y'all, you hearing this? She called, loud enough for the whole lobby. This kid says his mom owns the bank. Carter didn't turn around, but he felt the stares prickling at the back of his neck. A few snickers followed. He clenched his fists, struggling to keep his expression steady. I'm not lying, he said, voice quieter but firm. Her name is Camilla Reynolds. You can check. Jessica tilted her head. You got ID? Bank documents. She just asked me to drop it off, Carter said, holding up the envelope again. Jessica gave him a look like he was a bug she wanted to flick off the counter. She just sends you up here by yourself, talking about she owns the place? Carter's fingers curled around the edge of the envelope. She told me to hand it to the front desk, he said. That's what I'm doing. Jessica snorted. Sure she did. Then, with exaggerated skepticism, she the cleaning lady, sweetheart? A man in line laughed. Carter turned his head and caught a smirk from a guy in a windbreaker. The humiliation turned to something sharp in his chest. No, he said. She owns this building. Her office is upstairs. Jessica leaned back with her arms crossed. Then maybe she can come down and explain it herself. The bank went silent. Keyboards stopped clicking. Even the guy in the windbreaker suddenly found his phone very interesting. I'm just doing what she asked me to do, Carter said. You can call her office if you don't believe me. Jessica looked like she had something else nasty to say, but she didn't get the chance. The door behind the counter opened with a soft click. From the frosted glass hallway that led upstairs, a woman in a smart red blazer and low heels stepped into the room. Camilla Reynolds. She didn't shout, didn't even raise her voice. But her presence sent a ripple through the lobby. Her heels tapped a soft rhythm on the tile as she approached the counter, her gaze never once shifting from the teller. "Hi, baby," she said gently, placing a hand on Carter's shoulder. He let out a shaky breath he hadn't realized he was holding. Camilla turned to Jessica. "Is there a problem with my son delivering my documents?" Jessica's mouth opened and closed. Her eyes dropped to the name tag on Camilla's blazer. Camilla Reynolds, founder and CEO. Two didn't realize. Camilla smiled, but her eyes didn't soften. "Didn't realize what?" Jessica floundered. "I just thought maybe he was confused." "Confused?" Camilla echoed, her tone flat. The lobby stayed quiet. Even the humming of the fluorescent lights seemed louder than anyone dared speak. "I wasn't trying to be disrespectful," Jessica said in a half-whisper. Camilla tilted her head. "But you were, weren't you?" Jessica opened her mouth again, but another voice cut in. "No, ma'am," said a man from the hallway, his gray suit slightly rumpled. His name tag read Grant Wilkes, branch manager. "I apologize, Mrs. Reynolds. I didn't know this was happening." "Well, now you do," Camilla said, calm as ever. Grant's face tightened. "Jessica, can I speak with you in my office?" Jessica didn't argue. She gave a tight nod, almost a flinch, and disappeared down the hall behind Grant. Camilla turned back to Carter, hands still on his back. "You okay?" He nodded. She looked at the remaining customers. "Anyone else need help?" A few mumbled no thank yous and awkward coughs followed. One woman in a floral blouse stepped forward. "I just want to say I'm sorry," she said softly. "That shouldn't have happened." Camilla gave her a polite nod. "Thank you. I have kids," the woman added, almost whispering. "They shouldn't have to prove who they are just to be believed." Camilla looked at Carter. "Let's go." They walked out together. Carter didn't speak until they were halfway down the block. "Does that happen to you a lot?" Camilla sighed. "More than I'd like." Carter kicked a pebble along the sidewalk. "Is she gonna get fired?" "That's not up to me," Camilla said. "What happens now is the bank's choice." "But she laughed at me," Carter said, louder now. "She said you were the cleaning lady. Made everyone think I was lying." "I know," Camilla said. "And she'll have to live with that. Just like the people who stood by and didn't say a word." They stopped at a red light. Camilla turned to face him. "You held your ground. You told the truth. That takes strength." Carter looked down. "Felt like I didn't do anything. You did exactly what I asked. And more." Her voice was soft. "I'm proud of you." Back home, Carter pushed green beans around his plate, while Camilla took a phone call in the next room. Her voice was low, measured. He caught pieces, training. "Follow up. Incident." When she returned, she looked exhausted. "That was about the bank?" he asked. She nodded. "HR is handling it." "You think they'll fire her?" "I don't know. That's not my job. My job was to report what happened and to protect you." Carter looked at her. "Were you ever scared?" "Plenty of times," she said. "But fear doesn't stop you. It just makes you move more carefully."